class.
And we will present about
Designing classroom language test.
And I'm Melly Chentia Pangaribuan.
I'm Agnes Naibaho. I'm Halima Tussa Diah Bancin.
and my name is Lumbantoruan.
Check it out! Have a look of a slide. There are 5 types of tests. The first is language aptitude test. Second is proficiency test. The third is placement test. The fourth is diagnosis test. And the last is achievement test. Placement test. A placement test is designed to place learners at an appropriate level in a program or course. The function is to assign students to classes programs appropriate to their level or proficiency. Example, the English as a Second Language Placement Test or ESLPT. San Francisco State University has 3 parts. The first is students read a short article and then write a summary. The second is students write a composition in response to an article. And the last is multiple choice. Students read an essay and identify grammar errors of it. Proficiency test. A proficiency test is a test which measures how much of a language someone has learned. It is not linked to a particular course of instruction, but measures the learner's general level of language mastery according to Ricard, Plate and Heidi. The function is to test global competence in a language. Example, TOEFL, IELTS, and other standardized tests. Diagnosis test. A diagnosis test is designed to show what skill or knowledge a learner knows and doesn't know. The function is identify a student's strengths and weaknesses before the class is begun. Example, a test in pronunciation might diagnose the phonological features of English that are difficult for learners and should therefore become part of curriculum.
Okay, the next I will tell you about language aptitude test. Language aptitude test. Language aptitude test is designed to measure capacity or general ability to learn a foreign language and ultimate success in that undertaking. Language aptitude tests are ostensibly designed to apply to the classroom learning of any language by Brown 2004. The function is to predict a person's future success in learning a foreign language. The example language aptitude test is the Modern Language Aptitude Test or MLAT. Next, about achievement test. Achievement tests analyze the extent to which students have acquired language features that have already been taught. Achievement tests are often summative because they are administered at the end of a unit or term of study. The functions are to help the teachers judge the success of their teaching. And the next, to identify the weakness of their learners. The example, achievement test range for 5 or 10 minute quiz to 3-hour final examinations with an almost infinite variety of item types and formats.
Now I will explain and continue my friend's explanation about the steps in test designing. Okay, have a look at the slide. There are 4 steps to test designing. The first is assessing clear or unambiguous objectives. The second, drawing up test specifications. And the third, devising test tasks. And the fourth, designing multiple choice test items. Have a look at each of them. The first objective is clear, not ambiguous. Look at the example. Student will learn type question. This is not the clear objective, but the clear one is student will recognize and produce type questions with the correct grammatical form in simple social conversation. Next is about test specification. In drawing up the test specification, there are some skill. For instance, the first skill, speaking, you have to make it in 5 minutes per person previous day, and format oral interview among teacher and students, and the task, teacher asks question to students. The second skill, listening, for instance, 10 minutes. Format, teacher makes audio tape in advance with one other voice on it, and the task, 5 minimal pairs items, multiple choice. And the third is about reading skill. It can be 10 minutes, and the format, close test items. For instance, for 10 totals in a storyline, and the task is clear to fill in the blanks. And the fourth skill is writing skill, for instance, 10 minutes, and the format, prompt for a topic. Why I like or I didn't like a recent TV sitcom atau situs comedian. And the task is writing a short opinion paragraph. And these informal classroom-oriented specifications give you an indication of what? The first, the topics or objectives you will cover. The second, the implied elicitations and response formats for items. And the third, the number of items in each section. And the last, the time to be allocated for each. And then the third, devising test tasks. In revising your draft, you will want to ask yourself some important questions. For instance, the first, are the directions to each section absolutely clear? Is there an example item for each section? Does each item measure a specified objective? Is each item stated in clear, simple language? Does each multiple choice item have appropriate distractors, that is, wrong items clearly wrong and yet sufficiently or alluring that they are not ridiculously easy? And next, is the difficulty of each item appropriate for your students? Next, is the language of each item sufficiently authentic? And the last, do the sum of the items and the test as a whole adequately reflect the learning objectives? And next, in designing multiple choice test item, there are some points that you should be aware. The first, have all unintentional clues been avoided? For instance, consider the following items. The fruit that Adam ate in the Bible was an. So the purpose of this item is neither clear nor straightforward, because we don't know whether this question to ask about the Christian religion or not. And the second is, are all of the distractors plausible? And the third, have distractors such as none of the above and A and B only been avoided? Normally, experts advise against this type of option unless the specific purpose of the item is to attest to things at the time and students' ability to interpret such combinations. And the next is, has the ordering of the option been carefully considered, or are the correct answers randomly assigned? And the fifth, has needless redundancy been avoided in the option? For instance, consider the following items designed to test the past tense of the verb to full. The boy was in his way to the store, walking down the street, when he stepped on a piece of cold wet ice and blank 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 blank. If we look at the option, it's redundant. Thus, the item could have been far shorter to read and less redundant, yet equally effective if it had been written as follows. Look at the next the revised one. The boy stepped on a piece of ice and blank 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 flat on his face. So it will less redundant.
Okay, after having a test, what should we do? The first is scoring, the second is grading, and the third is giving feedback. After having a test, first is scoring. Scoring is the number of points that someone gets for correct answer on a test, exam, and etc. The second is grading. Grading is a number or letter that indicates how a student performed in a class or on a test. The third is feedback. Feedback is full information or criticism that is given to someone to say what can be done to improve a performance test and etc.
Thank you very much for watching us.
We hope you understand
Our material.
See you!